Coach PJ here. Do you want to master a new skill? Become better at something? That can be easy to say, harder to do. By understanding the 4 steps on the road to mastery, chances are you will be less frustrated as you practice new skills. Also, by recognizing the feelings that come with each stage of the learning process, it can help you stick with it and manage any emotional ups and downs. When you set out to master a new skill, it is natural to experience both success and failure along the way. Let me explain. The model I'm going to share with you highlights 2 factors that affect our thinking as we learn a new skill. There's consciousness, which is also known as awareness, and then there's the skill level or the competence. We call the first step unconscious incompetence. That's a mouthful. And I say that it's also a little daunting. You see, at the beginning, we don't know what we don't know. We may not realize how much we need to learn. In some cases, this could be considered a blind spot. We simply are not aware or conscious of our incompetence. We actually are in ignorant bliss. This is also known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's the inability for one to analyze one's own thoughts and performance. People with low competence find it hard to judge how unskilled they are. It's not uncommon at this step that your confidence exceeds your abilities. So moving out of this level requires knowing your weaknesses and what skills you need to learn. Getting external feedback is critical. Using a mentor, asking those who know you best, your boss or your teammates. As we gain self-awareness, there's often an inflection point. Sometimes it shows up as denial. We can blame ourselves, blame our circumstances, excuse our behavior. We can become disheartened, and we might even give up. When we acknowledge that there's a gap in our skills, we can then move from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. So we are now conscious, but we are still incompetent. So what that means is now you know that you need this skill and you don't have it. This can be most frustrating or demoralizing stage of the process. Before, you were ignorant of the gap. Now you know it, and yet you're still incompetent. At this stage, you're often painfully aware that others are much more competent. You might become self-conscious, you might lack self-confidence. To move into the next phase, which is known as conscious competence, so let's say that's where you're conscious and you're competent. It takes time, practice, and grit. It is unlikely you will move seamlessly into this stage. It is more likely that you'll move back and forth between conscious competence and conscious incompetence as you attempt the skill. Think back to your childhood, learning to ride a bike. It would take some learning cycles to get the hang of it. Some folks even use training wheels to gain confidence. Learning, like riding a bicycle for the first time, can be uncomfortable in the short term, but it's necessary for the long-term gains. You need to give yourself a little pep talk. Maybe journal. Notice the growth and the evolution of your skills. Be kind to yourself during this step. It can take time. And skills are a lot about developing new habits. For more information about habits and developing them, you can check out my video, The Power of Habits, for more details. As you begin to move, you then, out of unconscious competence, you have acquired the skills and the knowledge you need. You're adept at using the skill, and you have the confidence that you can demonstrate the skill as needed. But at this stage, you're still actively concentrating when you perform the skill. But as you get more and more practice and experience, these activities will become increasingly automatic. And as the skill moves into second nature, you move to this space, which is unconscious competence, also known as mastery. At this point, you are completely confident of success. You're no longer thinking about the skill. It has become your new normal. This may be the last step in the learning a new skill, but true mastery comes with ongoing use of the skill, or perhaps by teaching others. You can regress if you stop using this skill. However, like riding a bike, most skills will come back with a little practice. One of the dangers of unconscious competence is that we no longer rely on the checklists or the tools we used when we were developing that mastery. And that can result into making simple mistakes or skipping steps. Most of the time, this happens when we're under stress or have a lot of balls in the air. Even pilots and surgeons, no matter how skilled they are, use checklists and continue to use checklists. You can check out my video about increasing profits by using checklists as well. Let me provide an example of how someone might move through these 4 steps. So many people have the opportunity to give presentations. That doesn't mean all presentations are great. Step 1 in that unconscious incompetence is where the presenter isn't even aware of their performance. The presenter moves into conscious incompetence the first time they film themselves and watch the recording. They become conscious of their incompetence. This could be as simple as using filler words, a nervous fidget, or limited eye contact. At this point, the presenter can put in place some tools to improve their skills, and yet when they begin to implement the new skills and practice, they're remaining consciously competent. It's not yet natural, but they're going through the practicing, and eventually they will become unconsciously competent and will become into the mastery element. So what skill do you want to work on? Notice when you have success, when you demonstrate competence, and go easy on yourself. It's natural to move back and forth between steps along the learning process. If you got value from this video, subscribe, click the link, hit the bell below to be notified when new video is updated. Until next time.